I think human rights in Africa has made strides, but there is a long way to go. There's a lot of progress that can be made. And I think what I see in my work with professionals in the human rights scene, and I don't want to say industry, but in the field, and through individuals who are impacted by human rights, individuals who are my own students, who work within the law faculty, within the dialogue, human rights is very much still taboo sometimes within the culture and can be very easily swept under the carpet. And I think if we want to make the strides that we discussed today, that is something that needs to be identified, and it needs to become common rhetoric, not in this is the ideal achievements, but what we can do on an everyday basis to make it more accepted within communities and villages in Africa. I think, of course, the protection of human rights needs to start at a government level. So we look at each individual country and whether the country itself is upholding their human rights. A lot of states have signed on to different charters and signed on to different initiatives, but whether that is happening and whether it is seen in practice is a different issue and a different story. And so once states start acknowledging and recognizing the need to adhere to what they have signed on to, then we can really start seeing some change and some action. And I think that's the first step. And perhaps to achieve that first step, there needs to be more dialogue again in the culture and more stress that it is important. And it's difficult to achieve that, and it's tough to determine where that can come from first. I think, as I mentioned earlier, human rights definitely needs to enter more common dialogue. Although it is common to talk about human rights and that we have the commission and different events and opportunities for individuals who are activists to be involved, it's sometimes very often seen as something just discussed and talked about with no real action or seen change. Perhaps I think the basis of improvement can just start from a cultural level, from an educational, standpoint, where from a young age, just individuals of each state are learned of what they have a right to, have learned of their own human rights, and this sense of injustice and fairness of what they are entitled to. I think because people are unaware of what they are missing out on, in a very colloquial term, people are unaware of what they are deprived of. They are accepting their current conditions without wanting to challenge the status quo. And if from a younger age we instill within citizens this knowledge of what they should have, perhaps that will allow some cultural movement and dialogue that we need to spark change. So I think if I could make a recommendation, and perhaps it's because I am a lecturer that I'm looking at education, from an educational standpoint, we should ensure individuals are aware of what they could have if human rights were adhered to.